and welcome to the Zwift Community Live broadcast of the Zwift Racing League. We are into race number 5. We're on McCurry Islands. It's Temples and Towers today. There's going to be 3 main sprint points. I'm Nathan Guerra. Dave Towle is next to me, and this is all presented by WTRL. We're in with the ladies for the Americas East is what's going to be broadcast for the B category today. All about the B categories for this week in the Zwift Racing League across all of our broadcasts. And then we also will be in the America's Open East for the broadcast as well in the B category. The women have gotten out on course. They're 1.2 kilometers into their racing so far. The men are going to start in about 8-ish minutes from now. Dave, This a lot of the course recons we saw from Cy Bradley, as well as some of the live streams we've seen out there, the broadcast that we had. The bike swap has been obviously a really big topic. A lot of different tactics have been used, and they have not all been exactly the same as far as how they ended up playing out. That's for sure. It seems to me that things are pretty straightforward on this course for the initial rooftop. Then some games get played prior to the castle, and then kind of like all chaos breaks loose when we get to the temple section and the dirt. And are they on a bike? What bike are they on? What bike aren't they? Are they going to stop? The Kappa? I think it's the Kappa. I blame Kappa when it comes down to it. Your little demon up there jumping around. He's the one causing chaos.
He thrives in chaos, no doubt. Yeah, we've seen it all. I mean, it's different bikes being used during the change, different start points, different finish points for the swap over of the bikes. It's been an incredible day of racing, without any doubt. Also, the way that the power-ups have been in play, I hope this settles in as the way that we do it going forward with power-ups, where it's not randomized. Everybody gets the same power-up at the same place, and then it's up to you on how you deploy that. It's been really, really great racing out here for round 5. We got a team time trial to wrap up the season next week. So this is the last chance for the teams that really thrive in this chaotic environment. I guess if your team time trial is chaotic, Nathan, that's not a good thing.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Especially on like a straightforward London flat, like it should be pretty straightforward as far as that one goes.
Yeah.
Just
methodical.
Methodical big watts. Yeah, it's a good one. Boring. Show up for your Zwift race.
Right. But today has been nuts. And there's 3 different sectors before they get to the finish that have point scoring opportunities. We've seen, I'm trying to remember the rider today that put 113 points together. Now, with the 60 is the maximum. Actually, when you think about that, that was just absolutely mind-blowing out there today. Adding in finish
100,
points as
it was
well.
like
113, wasn't
13
it?
points. 113 points. Yeah, pretty crazy. Absolutely crazy.
And we saw Joanna Ernst, and this is all B racing that we've been covering today as well. It's been really cool that Nathan, it seems like 6 months ago you sort of made a decision. I remember you talking about it, that you were going to just switch up things on the broadcast and try to get more folks into the coverage. And there are so many B racers and C racers out there, and them getting to have a chance to see themselves in broadcast has been super cool. And the best way to do that is animate things and dictate things. And we've seen racers really throwing down. So
I got to give a shout out real quickly on what you just said, specifically to Gabriella Guerra. My wife said something during Toad, and that's why I brought up the Tour of America's Dairyland, and she was so impressed that they highlighted every single category on the podium afterwards, even if there were other races going on, whatever. They played the music, they had the announcers going off about how great it was and had background about each of the racers, and she was like, it is so impressive that everybody's honored within their categories. And that, hearkened me, it hit something on a chord about where we started here with Zwift Community Live. So that has everything to do with why that has gone that direction, because we've seen it, work so well in developing a community here locally in Wisconsin around the Tour of America's Dairyland. So, and Tom Schuler seems to really know what he's doing when it comes to cycling. So I'll give him that as well.
Build a pyramid. you build a pyramid from the ground up, right? That
Yeah.
foundation and honoring these folks. And yeah, I mean, I think it takes more courage to jump into a D race than it does for our A racers because it's a lot of unknown and uncertainty that you have to overcome. And these are the hard things that people in modern society are shying away from more. And folks out here in our Zwift community are doing they're leaning into the hard things, steel, sharpening steel. They make themselves better people. And we have a total blast doing it. So it's been extremely cool. So today, with the bees out here, you see that the bike swap is a big part of the race, but that's in the second half. They get right into it, don't they? I mean, when they hit rooftop, they're already, and here we go, rolling them out on course.
We got it's a replay here real quickly. Just wanted to get their start. This is going to be the B category for the ladies in the Americas East. They are heading up toward right now at this moment their climb into the rooftops. We'll get their current standings as well in just a moment. But nice little kick. There was pretty grupo compacto all the way up until they started to get into the rooftops. Then it was going to be the honeybees from ATP that really started to take over at the top, as well as Sisu, as you can see, taking a couple of posts, 4.1 watts per kilogram, also from Vioita. Now you can see it is going to be ATP with Finner in there, and a little bit later at 3.6 kilometers when they started to hit the rooftops, really started to make their moves to try and be present at the front. And they've continued on with that theme as we head into the actual sprint section. We're 4.6 kilometers in. This is live footage now that we're looking at here. ATP, again, still at the front and driving the pace.
All right, so very quickly, if you're joining us now, this is a different format. And I mean, that's one of the great things about the ZRLs. We really like to mix it up. So the three different segments, there's FTS and FAL points. FTS, I would say slightly, if you look at the scale, weighted a little heavier as they score higher in points. So the fastest through the segment will get 20 points, 15 for the second fastest rider, 10 for the third, and then on down, that scores 10 riders deep. Same thing for the FAL. That's basically just a sprint to the arch, and the top 10 riders will score 10 points for the first, all the way down to 1 point for the 10th. So they both score 10 deep, and we do see riders double dipping. Actually, that was a big part for the rider, Anna Katarina Hunger today. She was getting both FAL and FTS top points. We'll see if anybody can pull that off out here today. There's Cristina Perez.
Ooh, and just taking second there to Penner from Ava Synergy there. Whitaker for third for Revo. Lupo there, fourth place from ATP. This is a strong crowd here, Dave. In
Sure is.
EMEA, this had a lot more separation. These ladies sticking to the wheels, playing it pretty smart here, it seems like. Nicely done there across the board. And we're going to get a definite restructuring here, but I think it's all going to come back together pretty well. Only a few maybe falling off the back, but nice little sprint to the line. It will be. We'll get the points here in just a moment. As you did say, Christina did take Perez did take that second place, and it was ATP with Penner, or no, was it Synergy? Excuse me, Synergy with Penner, who did take down that sprint.
We'll get a look at that, Nathan. Perez, I remember from last week, or maybe a few weeks ago. I can't remember the last time we were with the Bees here, but she really stood out to me as a rider to watch. That's for sure. There's a lot of talent in this 49 rider group that we have here as they make their way through the first significant feature. Again, Castle and Temple coming up a little bit later in this race. But there's Penner right now that we're looking at, the Avis Synergy rider, who's clearly going to be a rider to watch out here today. A lot of Canadian flags. Significantly cool to see how Canada has embraced Zwift here.
Point structure. Lupo takes the FTS, so that bumps her that 20 points. The FAL, though, going for fourth to Lupo, but that gives her 27 in total. Perez with 24, 9, and 15. 10 and 10 to Penner, even though the first across the line, she takes third, it looks like, on the FTS from bottom to top.
So the Brazilian Perez, Cristina Perez there, Nathan, a second and a second for 24. In Penner's case, she gets a win as she's the first over the line, and a third there in the FTS to go to 20. This point structure is brilliant. It really is. So we will do that 2 more times, wash, rinse, and repeat through both Castle and Temple, and then the Lionesses' share of the points are waiting at the finish line at 33.4K in today.
quick little comment coming on through. Cadell Howie, appreciate the questions. You can always find the information for the broadcasts that are coming up on the Zwift Community Live website. We'll go ahead and put that in chat for you, just so you know. There it is. Can always find all that information over there. Currently, though, the men about to take off, actually just taking off out onto course as well. We will be following along with the B category for the men in this Americas. They've got 102 starters, Dave.
Wow.
Quite a few. So both of these, we've got 49 in with the ladies at this moment, and 102 for the men in the B category. We'll take a look across for the league for the men in just a second. Ladies giving a little bit of a push, interesting enough. And it looks like some of them using their arrow power up. So some of them are going to be opting for the feather. Others, though, it looks like saving their arrow as they did not use it there. You would have seen a lot more arrows if most of the riders were actually throwing them down in order to try and grab that feather. So some of them definitely counting in on the arrow power up. Let's jump in, though, with the ladies for their current standings and see where things are at for them.
All right, so we have completed 4 of the 6 races. We're stuck in with number 5 right now, and wow, another really fun one here. So this is going to go right to the final moments of the team time trial in London with Aeonian Blazing Ciclistas, 76 points on top of the table. And that's going to be a couple wins and never falling outside of the top 3 to accrue that many points. Synergy Fuse is hot on their heels here with ATP Racing Honeybees only 1 point off of Synergy. So really the top 3 more or less decided, but in what order? Because that could go any way. It's really going to come down to not only today's race, but obviously who's got the chops for team time trialing. Coalition Affinity there at 63 points, very close between them, the Dinos B Juicers and CISO Racing Vuelta, as they're also tied with the Golden Girls. So another cluster of teams that'll be fighting for 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th, most likely, out here with Raveheart at 54 points, in 8th, Revo Godivas in 9th, and then a race like a girl, Freya, in 10th there. They've had, unfortunately, some struggles getting riders into the races, so they've had to scratch a few times, but I hope that they were able to line it up out here today. I know that just because some of your teammates don't make it doesn't mean that the athletes don't want to get out and really race their hearts out. So back to you, Nathan, as we take a look at what's going to be really, really competitive for the top 3 spots here. Nothing's been decided or even close.
Very close at the top, interesting enough. And, at those top 3 spots, I mean, they're all within 1 point of each other. So there's a lot to be decided here. We're going to really keep our eyes on how that plays out between those 3 teams. So on the day, Aeonian Ciclistas, it's going to be Synergy Fuse and ATP Racing Honeybees. Watch out for them. But then the battles between 4th and 6th place, also Coalition Infinity, Dino B Juicers, and CISO Racing Vuelta, Golden Girls. Those 4 teams as well. I have a feeling they're going to be marking each other a little bit. And when you start getting down to those kinds of situations, a lot of times teams and their team members are going to start thinking, who do you match up with and who can you beat to the line? You start getting those head-to-head battles developing within the race itself. And you start knowing who you need to mark so that you can beat them to those lines. And if you do, you get those little boosts for your team.
Absolutely. Nathan, take a look at this group right now. Just take a mental snapshot. It will look completely, utterly different when we see them at the finish here, as this group will be shattered, blown to bits, as right now, the calm before the storm, really. This is sort of like that moment when you realize it's been a while since we've heard anything from the kids' room, right? Well, guess what? All hell's about to break loose, believe me, if it hasn't already. And at any moment, well, actually, I won't say at any moment, because these ladies know what they're doing. This is a savvy group. I think, Nathan, you could leave that race for a couple K. And I mean this in the most positive sense, because they're racing smart right now. They realize there's going to be a massive throwdown coming up on Castle. And I think most of them are pretty happy to wait for that and then just go all in.
Yep, I think that's exactly what they're waiting for here. So back in with the men, as they start their rooftop climb. We'll get their current league standings up in just a moment. It is going to be Marblehead making his way to the front, 5.0 watts per kilogram, as well as Harding, Team CLS, 8.4 watts per kilogram coming from Team CLS as they make their way through here. Quite the lead out coming in. Quite a ways to go yet. If we look at the mini map here, that's a huge charge from. They still got over a K to go to this line here. So he is driving this rooftop.
Almost everyone else. Yeah, and the rest of the guys seem to be following your plot line, to tell you the truth. They're kind of chill right now. Can you imagine trying to follow this on your GPS unit as you're coming through? What a crazy course this is. We would have riders just off course, left, right, and center. There you go. Now the attacks are coming, Nathan. All right, let's hot this up. It's on
Strickland.
like Donkey Kong.
It is Strickland there. He's got the fire socks on, showing that he's well over FTP there just a moment ago, well over 150% of his FTP. Reeves from Rhino there trying to jump on the wheels, knowing that Strickland is a danger man. DW here, OGs through this section. It's almost in sight now. You can see they're gonna do this little S turn for a moment here, and then it'll be a sharp right-hand turn into that factory-looking section. Now Electric Spirit Co. gets involved, the Creamsicle crew here with T. Kuhn. Then it's gonna be Strickland fading here. That was gonna be nothing but a lead-out jump, is because Strickland goes backwards quickly. Ned Bowen from Draft ramping things up, 8.5 watts per kilogram from him. Always a danger man, but I think Kuhn, he's got distance here. 1 second up the road. If he doesn't fade, I think Kuhn's done it.
Yeah, I'm with you. Again, got to stay on the gas here for a few more seconds, but it might not be over yet. Just a little longer here. And look at that surge coming from this group. It is amazing. And they just get him at the line.
I think they got him there.
They
Stages did. OTR. I got to take a look at the replay of that, actually, because that OTR rider.
Was that Duncan Johnson up there?
It may have been,
OTR.
yeah, it may have been with OTR, because that was really well timed, honestly. Like, really, really well timed.
I would even think, Nathan, they couldn't have been sure they were going to make that catch. It's crazy how serpentine it is. We're going to go back and take a look at a replay here. At this point, Nathan, I started to realize that this is going to be awfully close, and he might get caught by 3 riders here.
Yeah, so it was Stages, OTR boost. Thomas, I think, also. I don't know.
Ned
I mean,
Bowen.
There it is. Yeah, you're right. Thomas, I think, and the Stages rider, I think, are the two. It looks like just nipping him at the line there. If that is going to be the line, the draft rider there, Bowen doesn't get it, I don't believe.
To be fair, they'll go back and look at the back-end API. So what we're seeing is an approximation. We'll know in a second. The points have been coming up pretty quickly this time of day. Oh,
man. Poor Kuhn, too. I think he went all in. All in. Because look.
That was a plan.
He totally was. Totally was. Because he is gone now. I mean, he completely buried himself. And he's like, well, I did my job. That might be an FTS.
We saw that today.
Maybe.
Times,
if he went from the very back to the front, he could have still gotten FTS. We'll get the update on that as soon as we can.
I don't think so, to tell you the truth. But we'll obviously have the proof is in the pudding. We'll call that table up in just a moment. But I do like his courage, and I like the fact that the team has designated role players out there. We saw that work successfully for teams earlier today in many of the B races that we've been watching. So it was worth the effort, that's for sure. And maybe I'm wrong. Let's see. If he gets up in the top 5 in FTS, that's a lot of points. 20, 15, 10 on down. So FTS has more than twice the number of points than what you see over in first across the line land.
He'll get something.
Relatively meager.
He'll get something out of that.
It's meager. Yeah. Stingy points on that side from Martin, but he's very generous on the through segment points.
I think he likes the fastest through segment. I think that's his thing.
Well, and it's cool too, because on some courses, if it's a circuit, that can update. So you can have the fastest time and then lose it later, or you'll see it shuffling and readjusting the points as the race goes on, but not today because they only go through these segments one time.
Well, let's take a quick look here in the B category.
Look at this huge group about to rejoin here.
Well, they're calming right on down. Is that going to be a roll through there from the Zed-Sun there? Is that Zed-Sun rider? No, 2 Zed-Sun riders.
2. So they got something up their sleeve. And here comes more Zed Sun riders. It looks like to me possibly another, actually different team. I'm sorry, but more
Yeah, it's
riders coming
dirt.
up to
It's
join.
dirt. It's dirt there.
Mhm.
Yeah, getting the Z slice though. It's the Zed slice going up against the Zed Sun, but he's from the dirt team there. All kinds of Z's everywhere, but they're Zeds according to Anna Russell. Kirby there with 22 points. He gets the FTS. Bowen 21. He's going to be second through fastest through segment. It's going to be Hunt. Wait, now what was our buddy's name? What
Uh,
was
it was Kuhn,
Kuhn?
Kun,
He's not
and
even
he's
on
not
the
even top 10.
list.
So
Poor guy. Oh, Kuhn.
yeah. Well,
Electric
he
Spirit
started,
Co.
he attacked off of the front, so that's how I kind of knew that FTS wasn't really in
Yeah,
his
I wasn't
future.
sure where it actually started. Well, the
Yeah.
FTS started at the very bottom of the climb, so it was actually 1.9 kilometers. So if he would have started like off the back at the bottom of the climb, obviously that's not the case. Then it would have been a little bit more worth it there and worked his way forward. But it was an FAL all in there. Kuhn, buddy, creamsicle, no go today.
Also
Uh,
interesting, Nathan, that the guy Kirby who grabs FTS was eighth place as far as FAL goes. Well, or yeah, eighth place as far as FAL goes. So, uh, completely different ends of the scoring table there. But the most important is that 20 points that he grabs for the fastest through that segment. That'd be Rooftop that we're talking about, Castle coming up, and then Temple. And we'll put a bow on it all, 33.4K in. It's such a crazy world in Neokyo out here. And it's also really interesting. Very few courses do you race the opposite direction past your finish line and then come back and see it 20K later.
Real quick, let's take a look at where things stand. Tied at the top with Team CLS. Big rigs. This is coming into the racing today. After 4 rounds, the more will be decided after 5 today. Tied with Draft B, Team CLS, and then Draft B. It's going to be on the rivet boost there with 72. They got something to stand for, that's for sure. And so they're taking those points as best they possibly can, as we saw just a moment ago. Dirty Ducks B, followed by Dirty Watts Originals. It's going to be RR Ravid Rhinos in 6th place, battling it out up against the herd of Mad Mustangs, 49 and 48. We got some attacks actually taking place. I'm going to get through this quick. Over the edge Bs, SWAT, followed up by G88 Costa Rica. Climbing
Awesome.
well out there today. So that's the situation as it stands. Attacks off the front here as we go. 4th place right now. It's going to be Ero Potato, Yorosh from the Zedson team. They've got a plan. They continue to push the pace. Actually, it's Sisu that's instigating this with Mezzo.
I'm surprised you just say Arrow Potato and just leave it at that. I think that's a world-class name right there. I'm loving Arrow Potato. Good job, guys. So, all right, that's the guys coming past 10K. They're about a third of the way in. The women are now coming up, and I tell you what, Penner's my pick to take the outright win today. We were talking about it in our earlier broadcast, how even though it's a point structure, it's team-based, it's a 6-race season. We've got bike racers in front of us, folks, and ultimately these women are going to be, once it's push comes to shove, they race to win as well out here. And certainly Penner is one of the riders that is on my very short list. That's the Canadian Tiffany Penner that we're talking about right now. Taking a look at the entire group together. Again, a little bit of a calming moment here, but not for long.
Taking a quick look also at the mini map there. Make sure to keep your eyes on that. They're coming up on the temple, the castle very quickly. They'll take a left-hand turn. It'll be off in the distance. As soon as you start seeing those squiggly lines of a road get all kinds of wrapped up like an intestines, you know you're coming up to the castle in just a moment, because they're going to be doing a sidewinder type almost roller coaster, but uphill in just a second as they pass the trolley here. They actually come back through this exact section too. It's a really cool course actually, because you go out and then back. It's an out and back again, essentially, with the temple right in the middle of the whole thing, that you go to the very, very top of McCurry Island. Such a cool course. We'll take a right-hand turn. Castle Climb's going to start here in just a second.
I love it's a mixed terrain course as well. One of the coolest mixed terrain courses that we've got in esports for sure. As a matter of fact, this is my favorite without a doubt. Bike changes coming up. Typically, that's a few K from now if it's going to happen. It certainly will happen. Nathan, I just wonder, will be more than a couple riders? Will we have seen the success from earlier today? And will the word have gotten out? And, well, I don't even know. I think word gets out probably about the time that Cy puts his videos out, I noticed that 5,000 people are watching those recon videos now. That's the YouTube number. That says a lot for ZRL and WTRL. It says a lot for Cy, too.
A quarter of
So
the
that means a
racers,
third,
at least.
assuming
Third, a quarter, 20,000 people.
I'm going to guess that there's a handful of people that just watch because they love Zwift so much and don't race, but
True.
that's a pretty small group. It's going to be mostly folks that are racing, doing their homework. And as you said, if a quarter, that's a fair number. A quarter of the Zwifters are using that as a resource. They should feel really good about taking the time to do the work. It's very valuable.
100%. Well,
nice job, Ty.
Looking through here, plenty of riders still all together. You got how many do you say here?
Well, boy, I'm going to say that is.
I love it. You're 40? Always you got the pressure. Like, Dave, I sense whenever we ask that question, you take the question super seriously. Like, I like it how you're like, I'm going to get it exact, like as if it's like a real math question.
And
like I also
like Eric Min is going to.
But I like it because I sense this. Like, I've been watching bike races for 40 years. I know how to. I'm going to get this number right. I know what a pack looks like down to the number just from a glance at it, Nathan. I feel that coming through, and you usually are way so spot on. And I feel like you've learned how to parse out how many riders are in a number somehow, by grouping them. But we got some
really
lots of power ups going off here, Dave. We got to focus just for a second. It's gonna be Lufty here off the front.
Well, and you can see splits happening as well, Nathan. The power-ups now, the way they're being distributed has really improved the quality of racing, and you can see some desperation power-ups being thrown as well. If you see riders at the back of the group like that using them, you realize that they can sense that there is trouble in River City, and this is exactly why as Lutfi is going ballistic right now. The Revo rider out of Canada is definitely making a move. Penner's going to travel. So these are the usual suspects that we've got up here, Nathan, as Christina Perez is there. That's going to be Jamie Whitaker from Revo covering as well. And it is
Here comes Penner. So Penner around the corner. That's the last corner right there. Abus Synergy. Are they going to be able to do it here? I think it is just barely. You get a call, Dave. Tiffany Penner, unstoppable. Ludwig, nice little kick. Christina able to come through for third, but unable to nip it there from Luthi. It's going to be Gino here from Coalition, Finneran, and then Woods Turner coming on through, and their whole pack of riders here trying to make the survival moves. Looking over the shoulder, Dave. This is a different situation than we saw over the top of the rooftops, that's for sure.
Yeah, 100%, Nathan. I really quickly, you've made a huge effort to cover the bees here, and if we've got riders that are having an incredible day, I don't want to have them hear their first name wrong, so I apologize. It's Jessie Whitaker. Jessie, you are crushing it out here today. She's on the Revo Arrows team. I used a different J name there, so it's Jessie. She's super strong and a noteworthy rider today. Anybody who's made this front group, Nathan, you're in good company here. It's only heavy hitters at this point. You've really run the gauntlet out here now, and get ready because we're coming up on possible bike swaps. What we've seen, Nathan, has been really, really fun, and you do a great job of helping talk us through it.
A little bit of a group forming behind that'll make the chase. I think that's going to come back together.
It's a kind of uphill is the thing. You know what I mean? You're right though. It looks like more than a few are coming back, aren't they? I thought
unless there's an acceleration. If there's an acceleration at the front, everything could change here. But I think it is going to come back together. There might be one or two that are in the absolute hurt locker. And I mean, Judy from the Dinos here, just barely. Kathy though. Oh, Kathy, you got to grind got to get it just a little bit here.
Kathy, you got this. You got this, Kathy.
She hears this. She knows. She sees it. And I think
she's coming. She's coming. She's going to get back into the group. This is awesome. That's how you fight. Bike racers never give up. Bike riders, they'll pull off and have a banana. Bike racers don't quit. You're a bike racer. Great job, Kathy. So, Nathan, we started with 49. This is 44. That we've got in the. I mean, I'm just.
29. That's 29. You can see because 29. Kathy's the last rider up in the upper right there, above the Frenzy ride list. Yep. Man, we got it. Dave, after 40 years or so of this, I think you got to do some more homework.
I get that angle. I thought there were more up in that
Ooh,
front group.
they haven't made contact yet though, Dave. They did continue. There was continuance at the front. They said, "Look, they're coming back. Let's push the pace." Who's doing the damage is the big question though at the front, Dave.
The thing was, I looked at that and I was like, they're not going to make it because it's a 4 or 5% grade there. It's foreshortened when you're looking at it from that angle. Then all of a sudden I second guessed myself and thought, yeah, they're going to make that catch. But the problem was they weren't really working together, Nathan. It was a bunch of riders hitting out on their own more than collectively working to close that gap down. And eventually they all kind of hit that wall of wind, and it doesn't look like that catch is going to be made now. So bike racing really goes back and forth out there. And
look at
really
the gap now too. Look at that's huge gap. Really has gone.
They are going downhill now, right? So the distance is interesting. Distance and time are what we're talking about. It's always so fascinating how that all plays out. But I don't know that those riders are going to come back at this point, because we're going to go into another crucial sector right about now. And that's the women that we're talking about. Actually, that's really both races that we're talking about. There's no rest for the weary out here today on Temples and Towers.
Yeah, left-hand side there, you can see the women's race ramping up to about their hit. They're taking a right-hand turn. We'll see how many stops there are. Plenty of riders,
so
perhaps.
Bike change,
I'm looking, I'm seeing. Are there any? Nothing.
Scanning.
Nothing.
Not a one.
No changes.
Okay.
No changes
Remember,
there.
Nathan,
no changes
we're talking
here
about
as well.
When don't you change? And sometimes when you're in a group that's motoring along, it's a little scary to change because you're leaving the safety of the herd.
I also need to highlight in the men's side of things right now, there is one rider off the front. I'm not sure who that is. You can see them off in the distance there. And if I move, if we can get some, it's going to be Chile, I think it is. CRCA Foundation. And it was a lot bigger a moment ago. And then there was all these attacks that came through from Sisu, or just pressure from Sisu to bring things back. It actually split the group a little bit, interesting enough. Shelley here, he's really trying to hold on to this with that feather power up, actually. 4 seconds is all it is.
Steamroller up next, and we can talk about how significant that has been. So might as well use that. I mean, well used on the feather. Ultimately, it's all for naught, Nathan. I think he's going to be absorbed back into the peloton here.
Yeah, they're flying. I'm actually seeing fire socks popping off here. Is that going to be Strickland again? I have a feeling.
Great shot.
Yeah, it's Strickland here.
100%.
Whoa, look at all the feather power-ups. Those are really early, too. People are trying to hang on. As soon as you see the fire socks, I think people get a little bit, anxious. And it's let's go.
Fire socks is a feather, right? Yeah, the only way you can help suppress the power of the fire sock is to use what you've got now. Next up, though, they'll be reloading their power-up quiver with the steamroller, then draft, then steamroller, in that order for the rest of the race.
On the ladies' side of things, we'll jump across real quickly here. I am seeing that it is going to be D from Vojta. She's off the front here. Nice little gap as they hit into the tempo climb. Finner on there from ATP.
He's taking a nap, I heard.
Yeah, we're going to have to get him bouncing around out there.
Yeah.
G from Sisu, Lincoln from Synergy. It's going to be Jones Honeybees, and then Vani from Aeonian. Vegan Coalition there as well from Canada, 12 seconds back. The Juicers, Rayvon, B Juicers, 13 seconds back. Christina from Aeonian, she's got the kick, but maybe not the climb, as you see her trying to come back.
The Brazilian rider, right? So this is going to be interesting. Taking a look now, 21.
We'll get back in here, though. We're gonna
jump in with the guys.
Yeah, they're about to start their sprint. We got to get in with this because the off the front just a little bit is one of the riders here. That's going to be a Sisu rider. It looks like, or is it a SWAT? Not positive exactly, but it's actually going to be Zedson here now off the front a little bit, using a really late feather power up. Here comes the arrows. If you save it for this moment, the arrow is so incredibly strong. Team CLS trying to come up over the top. A couple more bends before it's going to really be the crucial moments. Duncan, though, again, OTR boost trying to take this down. Ned Bowen is there from Team Draft. There's the banner. It's going to be Bowen. FAL. Boost there, second. Connor, Team CLS.
Ned from draft, Ned Bowen is going to be one of our top points getters when you look back through the last two scoring opportunities now. As yeah, I'm going to expect he goes to the top of the table, to tell you the truth, because he's a familiar name that we're seeing both times that they scored. There's a lot of riders, Nathan, coming through in the top 10 for FAL, and for that matter, probably FTS points as well, that we didn't score the first time through back at Rooftop. So, but that's not Ned Bowen. He's been way up there both times. So doing an exceptional job for his powerhouse draft team.
Yeah, great job to Ned
I'm going to
there.
be really interested in these points.
Yeah,
I would.
we'll jump across to those in just a second. We'll come back to the ladies here. We'll take a look at the current point structure for the ladies as they are making their way up and over the top here. Piera is currently with 52 as she's leading things out, but she is back in 13th right now. So that may fade a little bit once we get toward the bottom, toward the back end of this race. Penner, where is the big sprinter Penner? Does she got the climbing legs or is she off the back a little bit here?
So she's won both sprints out there. She's picked up maximum points available for FALs. What's really impressive is Cristina Perez has picked up a first and a second through the FTSs. And I don't know if it's fair to say it takes more effort to do that, but she has really been doing a fantastic job because she's also been way up there in FALs today. So Perez, certainly a top performer that we've got in today's race up to this point. But Penner would like to upset that apple cart, and with a strong finish, she could do exactly that. Nathan, we've separated the cream from the crop out here now with the ladies. It looks like a group of 5 might be coming together here, and I don't know that anybody else is going to make contact with this group here as we start getting pretty late into the race now.
Finneran's off the front here. That group of 5 is coming together at the back here. Finneran's just in a zip code of her own, though.
Oh wow! I mean, look at this. Still making. She's a wattage cottage. I mean, sitting almost a watt higher, watt per kilogram higher average than the other riders who are chasing her. Incredible.
Yeah, Finneran, I think, is going to eat. Well, Vonnie and D, they're only 13 seconds back, and there's a good amount. I mean, if they got a kick, a steamroller, or anything like that, we could see something happen here.
So this is our B's, so I don't feel terrible about it, but we're going to have to do some research on Finneran here. What a talent she is. I have a feeling she's on the rise in this sport, although she saved it for the end of the race, which that shows maturity, a high race IQ to be there when it really matters. Her team's had a good day. They've got 3 riders up in the top 10 on points earned so far. So let's see if she can put a real exclamation point on this one.
Yeah, Finneran 5.8 watts per kilogram. Continue. This is the little kick here, and then off in the distance, we are going to see the next section, the banner, in just a moment. So she's going to take this one down. B Juicer's on the chase, only holding on though 2 seconds over that chase group you were talking about, getting caught actually at the last moment here by Penner and the rest here, Dave. So this is said and done here for the B Juicers, for the Dinos, as far as trying to take down that second place. Finneran, though, there it is, cross the line.
So Holly Finneran, Nathan, is a level 52 Zwifter. So an incredible amount of experience. Comes to the sport as a long course triathlete. I mean, she is, as far as rankings go, she's really just been racing in ZRL, to tell you the truth here. So not a tremendous, this is all back in 2022.
Penner! Oh, nice.
Wow.
Sorry, but Penner just with that last little kick there for a second.
Surge.
Grabs those points. We'll see how this points table changes up in just a moment here. Dinos, B Juicers coming through for 4th, Vojta 5th. Here are things now. The question is, if you're off the back right now, full gas kicks to get back on with anyone who's up front at this point, because this is make it or break it moments as to whether or not you're even involved for the finish line amongst this group, these groups up here.
Yeah, and I don't really know the way this is going right now that Holly Finneran comes back out here today, although it's not insane her advantage, but she looks like she's got a huge motor under the hood out there and continues to pour it on.
You think there was just like a ton of patience and she might just continue to walk away with this one, like saved it to that moment, went, and then said, I'm going all the way to the line.
And then kind of goes Gwen Jorgensen mode, right? Full on, like a triathlete can just go into the hurt locker and just get comfortable there for a little while. I think it's possible.
Go into the hurt locker and get comfortable there for a little while. That's a great one. I like that. The hurt and comfortable. Those two, I like that description, Dave. Get in the hurt locker and get comfortable.
Just get comfortable. You're going to be there a while, right? That kind of goes back to that whole Chloe Dygert, you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable thing that we used for a while. But I have a feeling Holly Theron is well adapted to efforts like this, what she's doing right now.
The question is, regardless of how strong she is, the reality of a pack of three downhill in Zwift working together at all. I mean, you can see their dust in the background, actually, making the chase at this point. They're in sight on the helicopter view. They're around 2 corners. They're 2 corners back, essentially. So that's what they got to do, 10 seconds. And then it's only 2 seconds back to Vani and Devoita. They're only 1 corner back from that group. Then there's one more with Lincoln. If Lincoln can get involved here, then you got a pretty strong chase group of 7. How many ATP are here? Only Finneran. So there's all the motivation in the world at this point to chase her down. Let's focus in on the Mendel for a second here, Dave. They're making their climb, and there's all kinds of fireworks going off.
Yeah, this is where it goes down, no question. It's impossible to be everywhere at every moment. I wonder, did we see bike changes being made? Again, this is going to be...
I didn't see any. I can actually show a replay, and the speed through there would really surprise me. There might have been 1 or 2 that said, I don't care how fast the group is going. I'm just going to stop. I didn't pick up any. I'll try and get a replay of exactly what it looked like, though.
Oh, yeah, you have to remember that the top riders that are at the front of the group have to make a tough decision. If that group is flat out flying, if you decide to pull the pin, I think we estimated around 8 seconds, a little bit under than that is going to be an exceptional change, an F1 pit stop change out there going from bike to bike. Remember,
here's their entrance. Here's their entrance right here. And I'm seeing nothing there. I'm not seeing anything there. I'm not seeing anything really behind either. No zeros on the right-hand side. So it looks like everybody just kind of continued. They're like, if we suddenly see one rider come out of nowhere, I mean, that like, and they'll just fly right on by while making exactly that sound bite, then we know. But they have to make that sound bite. Otherwise, it's not actually a bike drive. Because they can't show us the image. We just made a sound bite because they can't show us the image. So.
We talked about that client side, but at this point, it looks like everybody's just suffering on the bike that they were suffering on 10 minutes ago. So no reason to alert the news media right now. It's just a bike race with no changes, but the pressure's on here. This group is quite rapidly becoming smaller and smaller as they're going to be down to, let's call it 12K of racing now.
From the Rhino team, it's going to be Cano from OTE. It's going to be also Zhang there from OTE. DW, OGs, the dirt team now also involved. This is really coming back together, actually. There's a pretty solid group all together here. So it's going to be a sprint in line. This almost makes it, when there's this many left on a climb that's this difficult, there's a little bit of extra annoyance. For me, at least, where you're just like, can we just get rid of a few? There's too many variables here at this moment. Are you guys really hanging on? And Zhang feels the same way, it seems, at 7 watts per kilogram and a steamroller off the front.
Yeah, then steamroller, obviously, and especially you get a bunch of guys around you steamrollering, and you really start to, that's a verb now, steamrollering, but you really start to get some momentum.
You get a bunch of guys around you steamrolling. I feel like we're in some sort of like either future or past like club dance move or something.
Right. It sounds like you'd either do that in the 50s or in the 2050s, but not now. Right. Well, here's the split. It looks like OTE and Cano is going to make a run for glory. One rider, is it Ouellette there, the Rhino, that's going to latch onto his wheel? So this is the vanguard, the tête de la course that we're looking at now for our men's Bs.
Ouellette, yeah, trying to hang on. The Rhino, though, not going to be charged, and it looks like strong enough as Cano here from OTE makes the jump to the line. Rhino's got 8 watts per kilogram, but sorry, buddy. It looks, I'm incorrect.
There he goes.
He's making me eat my words. Rhino
We're
to the
going
line.
full Rhino.
There's the charge for sure. Duncan from Boost just hangs on top of Zhang. Zhang didn't time it quite right there. Oh, those okay. They did stop. a couple of these riders, we actually were on different bikes. Zhang, both the OTE riders, it looks like
Changing back
were
now.
on the roulette.
We're just
Olay
not
was too.
seeing
It
it.
looks like we just didn't see it. So they must have
Right.
came through at one point earlier after a stop. So we'll
Which-
see if I can actually find that in the replay. If
Which
we
means
can
they
actually see that.
should. They should be good for picking up some FTS points, Nathan. Then, right, as well.
They
If
should.
that all
They
holds
should.
true.
Yeah,
Right,
100%.
we'll see.
Looking
We
through
will
here, I'm
see.
trying to see Strickland's going off the front there. He's not involved later on at all. That's actually Ulay off the front. He made the catch right around here. I'll see if I can see where they actually made that catch. Right here is where they made that catch. You'll see behind them. There it is. Look at the speed coming through from the OTE rider. That's where it's at. They did stop, and they're going to go flying right on through this whole pack, actually. So very worth it for them in the B category for the bike swap.
Well, and there's some good examples. I mean, we've seen it work more often than not for the riders that have courage to do that out here today. So over on the women's side of things, you can see that they are down to, we're going to call it 33.4 is the total distance today. So just over just around 5K of racing there, mostly flat or downhill on the way to the finish line. This has been our leader, and I'd say the breakthrough rider of the day, Holly Finneran here, the American on ATP.
6 seconds, Dave. She's turned her lights on. It's getting dark out there. So is the time gap for her.
If you look how she's been matching up pretty much watt for watt with the ladies chasing her. So I'm still encouraged by her effort, but yeah, she's got a tough road to hoe now. I think she's really realizing how tough these women are in esports racing. This B level is no joke.
No, it's not. Penner here on the chase for Abus Synergy. It's going to be Vegan Coalition here also with Morch Lincoln.
Advantage chase
Synergy.
group, Nathan. Right?
100%. I mean, oh, yeah, and there's no one from ATP here, so that makes things even more difficult as nobody's going to be sitting in and making any kind of frustration.
Friends.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So no one is going to cause disruption here in the way that anyone
Holly
says I'm going to sit up.
Now I feel bad for her. I'm sure Holly has a ton of friends in real life. Just here she has no friends.
They probably are all friends with her too. The good kind of friends that kick your butt on the bike so that you get stronger.
Those cross-team friendships are something that have been some of, WTRL really showed that the banter between different racers, all in good nature, or I would think mostly in good nature at least. It seems like it all is, and it truly brings a lot to the sport, and it's that connectivity too. You know, you want to go show up and race against your same friends out there. So both of these races have really hotted up. You know, Nathan, I think going back about half an hour ago, remember how both these races had big pelotons that were kind of cruising along through Neokyo? Well, coming back into Neokyo, it's an entirely different story now.
Not big pelotons, separated groups by not a whole lot, though. We are seeing on the men's side of things, there's a chase group of what seems to be 6 riders behind when they're about to take on their next power up. They're only 4-3 about to make the catch, actually. They can actually see the riders up ahead. So it is going to be draft catching the Rhinos and OTE, as well as OTR Boost there. Team Cell S here is involved. It looks like the Creamsicle Riders with T Rider is there as well, with Electric Spirit Co. So plenty of firepower about to be joined. 10 riders, I believe, that we're going to have here at the front end of this race. Bowman from Draft, also S. Bowman, actually. Wozniak there, 22 seconds back. That's actually, I'm not saying they're going to make the catch, but they've got a lot of draft riders here. Will they actually? They're motivated to chase 4 watts per kilogram on the front here. Are they going to do it is the question.
Yeah, big time gap, even for a motivated group with some quality and quantity.
Dave, what happened here? You were like, I don't know what you did, but you like, I'm not saying you, but like, did Finneran actually pull off an extra 10 seconds? Did they get a little bit like this is? They were within 3 seconds or 4 seconds, and bam, she just
went down to 5. Yeah, this is really impressive. Now, if this is a plan, she is a master at her craft. How about Holly Finneran? Now, she's still got a ways to go. Let's call it 2.4K, but she's starting to open up an advantage. This really speaks to heart and motivation. Holly Finneran winning a lot of fans for ATP out here today. I'm going to go, at this point now, Nathan, how could you not be cheering for her? That group had her dead in their sights, and she is now riding them off. She's not even, because of the curvature of the earth, they can't even see her now.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Just out of sight here. There's going to be a solid kick in just a moment. There'll be a few. The survival moment is the dirt. The survival moment is the dirt, because if somebody has steamrollers, and quite a few are going to, there's got to be. I mean, the math just says there's going to be steamrollers. Does she have a steamroller? And how much power does she got in the legs to try and hold on? Bumps up to 4.3.
She's fighting.
Here's the moment of truth. Now. Here it is. Moment of truth right here. Will they make the catch on the dirt?
And I mean, Holly's got to be scraping the bottom of the barrel right now. As you can see, I mean, she'll jump it up into the mid fives, and then it'll come down into the low threes. And then, she's just flogging herself like a rented mule that's due back at 8 o'clock tonight. No
183 beats per minute, Dave. 183. Yeah. You saw the heart rate come way up just a moment ago, knowing this is the crucial moments for her on this ATP team, really hammering now. And Synergy now going to the front, 4.5. And how many Synergy riders? There's two of them. There's two of them here. They got to work together, but then they're just working for the other riders in this pack. So it's kind of going to get some infighting.
So that's what really Holly's hope is that this group just can't cooperate, because Penner is hoping that these other riders will do the work for her. She wants to finish what's on their plate before she starts in on her own. But right now, if everybody's going to have that mindset, they're not going to see Finneran. Finneran's now up to 11 seconds away. And Holly, with no teammates back in this group, she really is. Her mindset is just holding on to win this bike race. I have to think it's a single-minded effort that she's in, and it is just get to that finish line first. And she's got a really good shot now, as they're very quickly, she will have already seen the virtual red kite. So that red kite prayer has been made by Holly Finneran of ATP. Can the American hold off this group? My money's on her, Nathan.
Yeah, she's done it. I don't think 11 seconds with the landscape that's left. No one's going to kick from this group at this point. You just end up being a lead out.
They neutralize themselves.
They did, yeah. Lincoln tried to put the work in for Penner. Morch knows the reality is here, and she doesn't want to sprint with Penner. She's going to kick and see if Penner sits in.
Mm-hmm. Now they're really attacking themselves. This isn't so much about chasing down our leader, and that's who we're in with now. This is going to be a huge win here in our Bs for Holly Finneran. That's how you make a statement in this sport.
Big the triathlete. 8 seconds out still. They're coming quick here, Dave, but I think she's got it. I'm not sure that they can bring this back. 7 seconds still. She's almost got the banner in sight. Ooh, they're closing quick, though, here, Dave. She's got to start ramping it up, though. I thought it was said and done, but this is going to come right to the line.
Yeah, she's going to do it. I'm still very confident that she will, but she needs to scoot along here. Full tilt boogie.
186. It's almost in sight. One more corner to go. She's going to see it. There it is. 4 seconds back. The juicers are coming through.
Come around the corner. There they are.
Penner with the sprint sees Holly just ahead of her. It's got to be like 50 meters.
Yeah, that's crazy. So Penner backs up a great day today. I mean, every time it mattered, she was up there, but got caught on the back foot by Holly. That's a big one today. Really fun finish for the women.
Jones probably cheering on her teammate out there from ATP.
She'll be loving it.
Yeah, raising her hands in the air after a great result there for ATP. Wood's turn to trying to make the chase. Not going to be able to do so. She's going to settle for 9th. There's going to be a sprint for 10th place actually behind.
There's a ton of points still with these ladies here. These all really matter. I mean, it's not like they kind of matter. These are the points that will decide the top teams heading into our team time trial final, the 6th race of this season 1, 23-24.
Did you see that? I just saw the D pace partner kind of just like said, there it is. The D pace partner is like coming, trying to portal in.
Super fan.
I love it. For the women here, it's going to be Gino Revo battling with Coalition. Then Christina from Aeonian is going to be the next one, Perez. So that's the situation there across the board for the ladies. That was our top 10 sprint there. We'll get the results up in just a moment. Let's get back in with the men's race, though. They're finishing up their same section, of course. And we got attacks left, right, and center, actually. We do see Bowen here. S. Bowen, though. Different name. trying to get across or at least attack the group that he's with to try and separate himself from the battle for 11th place, actually, behind. There is a top 10 up ahead. This is the main group, but they've got 18 seconds. I think that that's going to hold to the line unless they really start looking at each other, but it looks to me like they are willing to work.
We have a Bowen and a Bowman in this race. So you got to stay on top of things.
Thank you. That's a good. There's Bowman and Bowen. So
and Ned, it was
one
up there
who
earlier.
is of the bows, and then one who has the bows. Those are the differences. Here's a Bowman and then the Bowen.
Exactly. So this is a guy who's been phenomenal today. Ouellette, the Rhino. Remember that sprint? I guess we never really were able to confirm with so much going on whether he won that sprint or not, looking at the back-end API, but he's certainly been an animator and a dictator out here today. These are the usual suspects. Strickland, Ouellette, Dumond, Knoll. Here we go. They're down to 2 kilometers of racing. Certainly going to be hard to escape from this attentive group right now. A reduced group sprint? I'd say so.
Wow.
Looking at who's the guy to beat.
Yeah, who just went through here? There's the steamroller. Anyone who saved the steamroller, it's so key right now. But you got to do a lot more than 5-4 to get away from this group. That's consistent. But Duncan from Boost there, he's going to kick up with 8 watts per kilogram.
As soon as the steamroller goes away, you'll just be reabsorbed right back into that group, right? So it's kind of a half effort there with this steamroller.
Well, 1 second. 1 second
well,
here.
Maybe not.
Is he gonna break him? He might
Actually,
break him
that's
here.
Interesting. He sort of used it to get the gap so they weren't in his wheel. And now other riders are going to deploy steamroller and with a little more elbow grease.
I like how you put that there a little more. I think that I mean, I'm not sure if where he got all that speed from. I mean, he must have really slingshotted those riders because Thomas here from Draft, he got an immediate like 50 meters. He's not even seen. You can't even see the riders on the little list underneath him here. This is a good gap.
Yeah, I would say he did what my friend Nathan would do, which was used every available thing to try to get that gap, right? He surfed the group. He used the steamroller. He went mental. I mean, that's how you do it. And he's got a gap now inside of, let's say, a little more than half a K to go. But this is a significant moment here as we're bringing these guys home. Interesting
that his teammates on the front.
Yikes. Yeah. We've had a few of those today.
Yeah, if I'm Thomas, I'm yelling at this guy right now. Oh, man. Full tilt, pulling the whole group at 5 watts per kilogram. Well, you're suffering at 5 watts per kilogram. 450 watts. Here comes Team CLS up and over the top here with the lead-out train coming from the teammate. Ouch. T-Rider now going backwards after the attack with the steamroller, but it's going to be Duncan. He's got such a good kick there. 11 watt per kilogram there. And there it is. OTR up and over the top. Not sure that's going to be seen again at 62 kilometers per hour. Lots of speed. Zhang's been a little late to the party each time, in my opinion. Just the timing's a little off because he's got 12 to give, but it ain't going to be happening for OTE at 3rd place there with the Rhinos in 4th.
Yeah, got it running just a little bit late. Zhang had a great day today out here, though, as well, scoring a lot of points for the team. So that gives us a chance now to say, wow, what a great race we had here today. That's going to be the 5th of 6. These teams will be recalibrating, finishing Will Rise. And we do have a lot of points still to distribute. But we'll recalibrate, get ready for heading to London for our team time trial next week to wrap this one up. We had some teams that were very close after 4 races. That's not going to change much. Still be very close heading into the final here of what's been a fantastic season. So nice. That was a fun day of racing out here.
Really great. Let's see if we can bring in some of our points as they happened out on course. This is actually where this team standings were. Sorry about that, everybody. So let's go ahead and bring in the points and how they were distributed across after the racing was done. That's the A category. Kristen, well, we showed it for a second here, so might as well take a look. Yeah,
teaser.
Domination there from Kolchinsky. It looks like at 123 in the A's. Lieberman with ATV Racing Stingers. Roberts, and then Riot with Rathwell. Marion Lawson. Eleanor Weissman. Right afterwards. Holy cow. That's Was
So
Kristen out there
Kolchinsky,
alone today? I wonder. I have to double
I don't
check.
know, but she won the race. She was first, a second, and a second at the FALs, and then she had 2 wins and a second at the FTSs. That's I've never seen more than 123 points. It's not a perfect score like the bowling 300, but Nathan, she is only 3 markers off of perfect here. So she gets
Yeah,
perfect
Marion
for the
Lawson
finish.
there is
She
the other 2024. My bad on that, just as a heads up. So she did have one teammate, but just decided to say let's take it to everybody. What
But
a
you know what? I mean, to be fair, Riot with sixth, seventh, eighth, and ninth, that's more than 123, a lot more than 123. So this sport is scored on team points, and it looks like Riot is doing what Riot does, which show up consistently and deliver the goods. It's
I mean,
both.
but Lawson and Kolchinsky kept it somewhat close. Like
No,
because
absolutely.
yeah,
No,
they did the
no,
two
but
of
the
them
strength is
took
in.
on the 5 of Riot a little bit there. They still
No, I
they still had to
agree.
work for it.
I just wanted to make the point that ultimately the real champions, even though Kolchinsky is just, I mean, she's Kristen Kolchinsky. She's an amazing, amazing athlete. But in this format, Team Riot is the ones that consistently win.
100%. And we'll
Well,
see
and
next round.
Virginia Blue Ridge
Next
wins too.
round. Next
Yeah.
round though, Dave. When in real life racing is over, I have a feeling they're
Oh,
gonna
I'd
go,
agree.
okay, let's see what's going on. There'll be a
Virginia
whole
Blue
nother
Ridge,
story.
100%. Once you move the road gravel season is still a couple weeks away from wrapping up. But once we move into November, VBR will be back with full rosters and they won't have this problem anymore. So it's sort of because they are so active out on the road. And I mean, they've had Melissa Rollins doing really well in gravel racing as well. So no shade being thrown. Let's take a look at the bees, though, as it was Tiffany Penner. This is going to be based on points today that have been earned, and it's Tiffany Penner, the Canadian for Synergy Fuse, on top of the table. The Brazilian Cristina Perez taking second with 72 points for Aeonian Blazing Ciclistas. Third place is going to be Zena Lutfi for Revo Godivas. It's Ginny Lupo in fourth for ATP Racing Honeybees. Randy Gino of Coalition Infinity in fifth. Alicia Trevino of the Dinos B Juicers in sixth. Deirdre Maloney of Sisu Racing Vojta in seventh. Cheryl Morch of Coalition Infinity eighth. Jesse Whitaker, Revo Godivas rider in ninth, and then Yvonne Timewell for Aeonian Blazing Ciclistas, of our B category here. That's the top 10 points earners today.
Yeah, nice job to all of them all around. Let's see what we've got for the points here for the men in just a second. We saw quite the battles early on too. What's really cool, I think, with this format is how that works, Dave. That early on you can have situations where riders put in a dig for the team, and then it changes up pretty quickly there to being about a different part of the course. And we saw Duncan Johnson early on in the battles here, but wow, this is pretty spread out across. Interesting enough, Dave. I mean, Johnson, Gonsolin, Zhang, but I mean, I get the feeling that across all of the point structures out here today, they're spread out enough that the top 10, we don't see just something stand out. I mean, Duncan Johnson with 86 is a pretty high number, but it's not over the hundreds there.
No. And his teammate there with Taylor with 67, that's a pretty good sign for them. But you're right. It's you couldn't look at that and have enough data points to be able to confidently say anything. Over the edge Bs, they've got another rider there, Pete Canole. He's in sixth, so that's really not all that different. It's going to come down to what their teammates outside of the top 10 were able to pick up along the way. So Duncan Johnson, great job today, the OTR Boost rider, with his teammate in second, 86 and 67 points there. Chris Zhang, strong riding today from Chris. Over the edge Bs, he has 60 points, 58 for Jonathan Oulet. He's one of the RR Rapid Rhinos. Ned Bowen was up there all day for Draft B, picking up 55 points, 47 over the edge B's rider Pete Canole. That'll be good for the sixth spot on points earned. Seventh is James Stevens of Team CLS Big Rigs. He has 44 points, 36 for Draft B rider Joe Thomas. Dave Garguilo for CRC Foundation Bs with 34, and then 33 points. Get you up into the top 10 tonight for DJ Hunt of the Dirty Ducks Bs. So that's a look at the Bs. We'll have to.
Yeah. We'll leave it at the Bs for now.
Okay.
And we'll get some more obviously next week in with the C category as we're in with our final round next week with the TTT. It's been a good day for the ZRL WTRL
Sure has.
broadcast. Really enjoyed everybody. Like, I'm absolutely loving seeing the narratives. You know, one of the things we had said was that the narratives, we needed to have these week in, week out consistent. But what I'm finding actually, Dave, is we're getting these cool narratives across all of the categories actually as we come back to them to see how things have gone so far and where they stand after a couple of rounds. It's been kind of cool to swap it up, and I'm absolutely really enjoying that. We'll be back tomorrow for SCR, the midweek high and low race. We are in on I gotta actually take a look here real quick as I completely forgot. Next tomorrow's the scratch race, Three Little Sisters. So it's actually going to be a really a lot of elevation. It's like, I mean, there's a pretty good amount of kick in the Three Little Sisters, 33.9 kilometers. So we will be jumping across both the high and the low. Jump into that. We'll and check out that coverage. If you are looking for any other Zwift racing league, just head over to ZwiftCommunityLive.com, head over to the news, and you'll be able to find every single one of the broadcasts we've done for each round so far right over there, or obviously on our YouTube channel. Any final thoughts, Dave, before we head out for today?
No, just I'm really happy that you've been covering the Bs, and next week we'll be with the Cs for our team time trial. But you start to recognize the riders and the names are familiar. It's been really, really fun. Great racing today. Solid all the way through.
Yeah, absolutely awesome. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Make sure you hit those follow buttons, likes, all that good stuff. We'll be back with you tomorrow. SCR midweek racing, as always, from Dave and I. Right on.
Who you want to be?